Raymond Charles Robinson was born September 23, 1930, died June 10, 2004, professionally known as Ray Charles, was an American singer, songwriter, musician, and composer. He was sometimes referred to as the Genius, and was also nicknamed the High Priest of Soul. Raymond Charles Robinson was the son of Aretha Robinson, a sharecropper, and Bailey Robinson, a railroad repairman, mechanic, and handyman. When Charles was an infant, his family moved from his birthplace in Albany, Georgia back to his mother's hometown of Greenville, Florida. In his early years, Charles showed a curiosity for mechanical objects, and would often watch his neighbors working on their cars and farm machinery. His musical curiosity was sparked at Mr. Wiley Pittman's Red Wing Cafe at the age of 3, when Pittman played Boogie Woogie on an old upright piano. Pittman subsequently taught Charles how to play piano himself. Charles started to lose his sight at the age of 4 or 5 and was completely blind by the age of 7, apparently as a result of glaucoma. Aretha used her connections in the local community to find a school that would accept blind African American students. Despite his initial protest, Charles would attend school at the Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind in St. Augustine from 1937 to 1945. Charles began to develop his musical talent at school and was taught to play the classical piano music of Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven. While Charles was happy to play the piano, he was more interested in the jazz and blues music he heard on the family radio than classical music. Aretha died in the spring of 1945, when Charles was 14 years old. Her death came as a shock to Ray, who would later consider the deaths of his brother and mother to be the two great tragedies of his life. Charles returned to school after the funeral, but was then expelled in October for playing a prank on his teacher. He started playing the 1 to 5 a.m. shift at the rocking chair with his band McSun Trio, which featured McKee on guitar and Milton Garrett on bass. Publicity photos of the trio are some of the earliest recorded photographs of Ray Charles. In April 1949, Charles and his band recorded Confession Blues, which became his first national hit, soaring to the second spot on the Billboard R&B chart. After the success of his first 2 singles, Charles moved to Los Angeles in 1950 and spent the next few years touring with blues artist Lowell Fulson as his musical director. In June 1952, Atlantic Records bought Ray's contract for $2,500. Late in 1954, Charles recorded his own composition, I Got a Woman. The song became one of his most notable hits, reached number 2 on the R&B chart. In 1955, he had hits, This Little Girl of Mine and A Fool for You. In upcoming years, he scored with I'll Drown in My Own Tears and Hallelujah, I Love Her So. By 1959, Ray Charles reached the Billboard Top 10 with What Did I Say, which made him a major figure in R&B. Parallel to his R&B career, Charles also recorded instrumental jazz albums such as 1957's The Great Ray Charles. During this time, Charles also worked with jazz vibraphonist Milt Jackson, releasing Soul Brothers in 1958 and Soul Meeting in 1961. By late 1961, Charles had expanded his small road ensemble to a full-scale big band, partly as a response to increasing royalties and touring fees, becoming one of the few black artists to cross over into mainstream pop with such a level of creative control. This success, however, came to a momentary halt during a concert tour in November 1961, when a police search of Charles' hotel room in Indianapolis, Indiana, led to the discovery of heroin in his medicine cabinet. The case was eventually dropped, as the search lacked a proper warrant by the police, and Charles soon returned to music. In 1965, Charles' career was halted once more after being arrested for a 3rd time for heroin use. He agreed to go to rehab to avoid jail time, and eventually kicked his habit at a clinic in Los Angeles. After spending a year on parole, Charles reappeared in the charts in 1966 with a series of hits composed with the fledgling team of Ashford and Simpson, including the dance number I Don't Need No Doctor and Let's Go Get Stoned, which became his first No.1 R&B hit in several years. In 1983, Charles signed a contract with Columbia Records. He recorded a string of country albums, as well as having single hits with duet singers such as George Jones, Chet Atkins, B.J. Thomas, Mickey Gilley, Hank Williams, Jr., Dee Dee Bridgewater and lifelong friend Willie Nelson, with whom he recorded the No. 1 country duet, Seven Spanish Angels. Charles appeared at 2 separate presidential inaugurations, performing for Ronald Reagan's second inauguration in 1985, and for Bill Clinton's first in 1993. On October 28, 2001, several weeks after the terrorist attacks of September 11, Charles appeared during Game 2 of the World Series between the Arizona Diamondbacks and New York Yankees and performed America the Beautiful. Lastly, in 2003, Charles performed Georgia on My Mind and America the Beautiful at a televised annual Electronic Media Journalist banquet held in Washington, D.C. His final public appearance came on April 30, 2004, at the dedication of his music studio as a historic landmark in Los Angeles. Ray Charles was married twice, and had 12 children with 9 different women. Charles' first child Evelyn was born in 1949 to his significant other, Louise Flowers. Charles' first marriage was to Eileen Williams Robinson and lasted from July 31, 1951 to 1952. Charles' second marriage to Della Beatrice Howard Robinson, called B by Charles, began on April 5, 1955 and lasted 22 years. Their first child together, Ray Jr., was born in 1955. Charles was not in town for the birth as he was playing a show in Texas. The couple had 2 more children, David, 1958, and Robert, 1960. During their marriage, Charles felt that his heroin addiction took a toll on Della. Charles had a 6-year-long affair with Margie Hendricks, one of the original Ralettes, and in 1959 the pair had a son together, Charles Wayne. His affair with Mae Mosley Lyles resulted in another daughter, Rani, born in 1961. In 1963, Charles had a daughter, Sheila Jean Robinson, with Sandra Jean Betts. In 1966, Charles' daughter Aretha was born to a woman who remains unidentified, and another daughter, Alexandra, was also born to Chantal Bertrand. Charles divorced Della Howard in 1977, and later that year Charles had a son, Vincent, with Arlette Kotkanian. A daughter, Robin, was born a year later to Gloria Moffett. Charles' youngest child, son Ryan Corey Denbach, born in 1987 to Mary Ann Denbach. One of Charles' long-term girlfriends at the time of his death was Norma Pinilla. In 2003, Charles had successful hip replacement surgery and was originally planning to go back on tour, until he began suffering from other ailments. He died at his home in Beverly Hills, California, on June 10, 2004, surrounded by family and friends, as a result of acute liver disease. He was 73 years old. His funeral took place on June 18, 2004, at the First Name Church in Los Angeles, with musical peers such as Little Richard in attendance. B.B. King, Glenn Campbell, Stevie Wonder and Wynton Marsalis each played a tribute at Charles' funeral. Charles was interred in the Inglewood Park Cemetery. Charles possessed one of the most recognizable voices in American music. His style and success in the genres of rhythm and blues and jazz had an influence on a number of highly successful artists, including Elvis Presley, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, Van Morrison and Billy Joel. Charles was also an inspiration to Pink Floyd member Roger Waters. In 1979, Charles was one of the first musicians born in the state to be inducted into the Georgia State Music Hall of Fame. Charles' version of Georgia on My Mind was also made the official state song for Georgia. In 1981 he was given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and was one of the first inductees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at its inaugural ceremony in 1986. He also received the Kennedy Center Honors in 1986. In 1987, he was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In 1991, he was inducted to the Rhythm and Blues Foundation, and was presented with the George and Ira Gershwin Award for Lifetime Musical Achievement during the 1991 UCLA Spring Sing. In 1993, he was awarded the National Medal of Arts. In 1998 he was awarded the Polar Music Prize together with Ravi Shankar in Stockholm, Sweden. In 2004 he was inducted to the National Black Sports and Entertainment Hall of Fame. The Grammy Awards of 2005 were dedicated to Charles. In 2003, Charles was awarded an honorary degree by Dillard University, and upon his death he endowed a professorship of African American culinary history at the school, the first such chair in the nation. A $20 million performing arts center at Morehouse College was named after Charles and was dedicated in September 2010. The United States Postal Service issued a forever stamp honoring Ray Charles as part of its Musical Icon series on September 23, 2013.